What's up, everybody? I'm Jason Weisenberg.
And I'm Michael Weisberg.
Welcome to Viseland Playoff Conference Finals Edition. We're recording this on June 22nd, 2021.
Yeah.
And we just saw a very crazy ending in game 2 of the Clippers-Suns series. Like, it was probably the longest 2 minutes of basketball I've seen in my life, with like 50,000 replays and challenges. But basically, for those that didn't get to watch the game, crazy finish. Basically, ball ends up. Paul George misses some free throws. Phoenix has the ball. They kind of mess up, but they get the ball back under their basket, kind of in the corner, throw up a lob. Ayton just catches that lob, throws it down. You thought that won the game, which it did, but then Clippers still had 0.7 seconds to miss a shot. But it was just a crazy, intense finish. Devin Booker just broke his nose for better.
Devin Booker didn't break his nose on his own.
Yeah, he broke it on Patrick Beverley's head.
I would say Patrick Beverley broke his head on Devin Booker's nose.
Yeah.
What the heck was that, man?
But then Devin Booker gave him like
such a Pat Bev move.
But then like Booker gave him like a pretty swift like forearm towards the end too, that like he was bleeding, Patrick Beverley.
You break my nose, I'm gonna give you a forearm. Like it's along those lines.
Well, I mean, Patrick Beverley was very Patrick Beverley antagonistic type things, but Booker hit a huge shot at the end. Paul George was coming up pretty decently for them, Nipah to Kawhi Leonard, but unfortunately,
I mean, he's been great. Like Paul George has been playing really well. Like I know that so many people like are going in on like the whole like playoff P and everything like that, and like he shouldn't have done that to himself.
Yeah, that's why it's funnier. It's funnier because like I wouldn't do this if he never said anything. I wouldn't be like, oh, this playoff. But because you said this and brought this upon yourself, like
that was the issue. That was really the issue.
And as Charles Barkley so eloquently said, they can call him playoff P just like they call me championship Chuck.
Yeah,
this is basically they're both having that same success rate.
Speaking of, did you see that clip I sent you from Ben Taylor of the finals where Charles on that last defensive possession? Like, holy cow. But okay, getting back to the topic at hand. Yes, it was a fantastic game. Campaign played out of his ever-loving mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's done a fantastic job instead of Chris Paul.
Yeah, no Chris Paul so far, and probably get to come back pretty soon. But again, I don't think there's been a defined date for Chris Paul's return.
Well, they held home court, so yeah, they're doing better than the Clippers are without their art. Well, the Clippers, it's straight up their best player. Chris Paul, I think there's at least like some argument with Devin Booker, but you probably go with Chris Paul. DeAndre Ayton's played fantastic. Like, he's been really, really good in just throughout the playoffs. Like, he started the season off fairly slow for Phoenix, even though they were doing well, but then just got better and better as the season progressed. And he has had some amazing playoff games, and this was one of them.
This was definitely a career highlight for him at the end. Devin Booker hits a good screen, and that's what just just that half step shy, because he jumps just like a little bit later. Ayton gets that super exciting finish, and we're left with a conference final here. Phoenix and the Clippers out west, and then you got Atlanta and Milwaukee out in the east. And so we're going to see either way. We're going to see a champion that hasn't won since the NBA ABA merger. So out of all those teams, Milwaukee's the most recent team to win. That was 1971. Atlanta, I think it was like
Atlanta was like in the 50s.
1958, I think, was like it broke.
I think you're right.
Bob Pettit, shout out to Bob Pettit. But so it's definitely some new blood is going to be seen in the finals, and someone who hasn't had a chance in a long time is going to really get to put on for their fan base and bring home the trophy.
Let me also say that although the Clippers are down 2-0 right now, they've been down 2-0 in every series they've been in so far. So like they've started off poorly on the road or at home in the case against Dallas. But it should still possibly be interesting. But obviously the main hope is Kawhi Leonard to come back, because I think that would really shift the series. And then if Chris Paul comes
All
back.
comes back, yeah. So it's kind of
That's
that
pretty big.
weighted.
Well, I don't think it's 1-to-1 there.
No, it's not 1-to-1, but I mean, it's also that gives Phoenix a boost as well as Clippers get their boost from Kawhi. So
yeah, but like the boost,
Kawhi is
one is greater
if I had to
than
pick,
the other.
if I had to pick one of them to boost my team, I would pick Kawhi Leonard at this time. But like, just both key players to their franchise. And yeah, we have not yet because Philadelphia and Atlanta went to 7 games, so there hasn't been an Eastern Conference game yet, but should be interesting
Tomorrow
to see how that series takes off. Because Atlanta definitely pretty shocking that they're here at this point. I mean, nobody was getting that in. They had some struggles earlier at the beginning of the year, and here they are. I mean, Trae Young is the most hated man in New York City, and keeping that.
They played a fantastic series. Let's I still think Milwaukee is going to probably to smack them, as I kind of predicted the winner of like either Milwaukee or the Nets would likely do to either Philadelphia or Atlanta, but that's me.
Yeah, and definitely like in the coming months over the summertime, probably going to have a lot to talk about with Philadelphia being a team that might be getting a bit of a facelift in the off season or looking to make some sort of change of some kind. That seems to be kind of the word on the street at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But shifting over from some exciting NBA action, we also had some very exciting news on the recruiting front today.
There was a huge, something very big went down today.
Lay it on them. I was gonna let it, but basically, so it's 2022. Recruiting is going on right now, but the Oregon Ducks just got a commitment from Dior Johnson. He is the second highest rated player ever to commit to the Ducks behind Bol Bol. Obviously, there's a lot of time between now and when signing is and when actually enrollment is and when playing is. And he, one of the offers and options that he had that he did turn down was an NBL contract over in Australia for about $1.2 million was kind of the estimate that I saw. And basically, people did not see it coming. He came to Eugene for a visit, but you look at his crystal balls on 24/7 Sports, they had 10 people saying that he was a Syracuse lock. And he had 7 people saying that, they were pretty confident that he would go professional.
I'm guessing the people that said he was a Syracuse lock were the people who initially had predicted he was going to commit to Syracuse when he actually did do that. He had committed to Syracuse. He had decommitted from Syracuse. He was looking at Oregon, I believe Alabama, Kentucky. There were a few other schools in the mix. Oregon always seemed to be in there once he had decommitted from Syracuse. He's been around. Like Dior has been to a number of different schools, but at the same time, he is tremendously talented, just like a fantastic handle, can really see the floor, makes a lot happen with his pull-up game. So he is, I think, one of the more talented players in this high school senior class. If he does come to University of Oregon, it would be an amazing get and like one of the bigger recruiting gets I think we've ever had. Like I would say like even like possibly beyond Bol Bol. Well, I'm thinking he would likely be a higher draft pick. I think it is fantastic. There is a long time between now and him coming to campus, but I was very happy today to hear about
big, and a lot of people, a lot of buzz too on Chris Crutchfield, the new assistant coach of the Ducks.
Definitely,
who's someone who was responsible when he was at Oklahoma for the recruitment of Trae Young.
Yeah.
And there. So, that's good buzz immediately there. But
Crutch has done a fantastic job so far.
Yeah, exciting.
So
at that level commit to Oregon. And like the comparison, he gets is kind of De'Aaron Fox-ish, just someone who's just going to be like a four-donor point guard.
Yeah.
Nifty scoring.
I think maybe even more like shooting upside than Fox. He's just a tremendous talent, and I still think that there will be pro options for him at the end of the day, and we'll see how it goes. But if he does actually come to University of Oregon, it would be like I'd be doing backflips. So
and also professional, and also other schools don't stop recruiting you. So, there's a lot going on, but
It could happen.
all holds course. Super, super exciting action in Eugene.
Mhm.
Hopefully that will go down. And then obviously a big thing for you, your big event is going down, and that's the NBA draft combine. We just had like that G League Elite combine over the weekend. Now we're getting
as NBA Draft Mikey V, I need to follow the NBA Draft Combine. I didn't get a chance to watch any today, but my lord, was I talking about measurements. And a lot of measurements came in. You know what? I'm going to tease, and let's say if we get more likes than Viseland has ever gotten in a video, which I'm guessing is somewhere in like the 20 range, but keep the likes up, and I'll do like a full measurement breakdown episode of Viseland. There are a few that like Jericho Sims just had one of like the craziest athletic, he measured well, and then he proceeds to jump 44.5 inches for somebody who's like, I think like 6'8" without shoes, which is crazy. Like that's like even beyond like when Kenny Wooten like had his ridiculous combine. I feel like he's right around that area of just insane like run jump athlete, big men. So yeah, Jericho Sims I think really helped himself today, possibly get drafted. Already had some buzz among some people I've been talking to. And yeah, then I think let's kind of put this off because the combine doesn't end until the 27th. Maybe we'll talk about that in a later episode, but the NBA draft lottery just happened. And that's what we wanted to get down to. It was, as I tweeted out, the first time ever the NBA draft lottery wasn't rigged.
Yeah, shockingly, they had the chance to do it. The signs were there, but
well, nobody, who was watching? Who was watching? They were all in different places.
Yeah, but you freeze the ball that is going to the team that's going to get the number one pick.
Well, but nobody's like taking them out. They like go into the little slot, right? Yeah. You can't do the frozen envelope anymore, man. You got to come up with something a little better than that. Well, let me just say, I'm sorry for anybody I know who lives there, but guessing the NBA wasn't hoping the Cade would go to Detroit. And then Houston Rockets got the second pick. They were, I think they were slotted for first.
They were one of the two with the highest probabilities.
And then, Houston gets number 2. Cleveland Cavaliers get number 3. And considering the fact that, they are kind of have the guard duo, Sexland right now. And then the Toronto Raptors moved up to number 4. So yeah, those were the lottery winners, and lottery loser right off the bat was the Golden State Warriors had to give up their pick, or not Golden State Warriors, the Minnesota Timberwolves had to give up their pick to the Golden State Warriors, who now have 2 lottery picks at 7 and 14, and the Orlando Magic get a pick from the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, with two like I think let me just
5 and 8.
5 and 8. So two picks again. So like wondering where they'll go, or if they'll try to leverage and move up or acquire somebody. But without further ado,
this was not the Viseland playoff breakdown. This is the Viseland post lottery mock draft. And so I made a little mock draft, just some guys. This is going to change, people. I already don't really love it. This draft, very unpredictable. And what this mock draft is doing is trying to predict what these teams will do and who they will take. And I'm going to throw in the fact that they might be trading these picks. I'm not completely sure where right now. But at the same time, we're going to do what we do in that we're going to give you an idea of who these players are.
And this
And
is where the board is. This is where the board is today, of who's picking,
Exactly.
picking where. But it's the first time, again, this is doing, random, online, like mock drafts where they throw the teams. This is like, the first time you really get to actually hypothetically match up that team with that player. This is, if all were to remain the same, no trades, this is what's happening.
Yeah, and at NBA Draft.net, what we used to do is we would not even think about team need until they have the lottery. So now, we can think a little bit more about team need. And at the same time, we're hoping to shock you with a few of these picks. We'll see.
And of course, we gotta start at the top, and that is
I'm gonna shock Jason with a few of these picks.
Detroit basketball. I can't think of them being
diehard Pistons fan, Jason Weisenberg. Everybody.
I like the announcer. I love that.
That is cool.
I like those teams at the early, and they had Ben Wallace was their representative today, and he was one of stalwarts of that.
You like those teams? I still can't get over 2004, man.
I mean, that hurt that Lakers. But I thought they were tough, and I love Rip Hamilton because he was very much someone who never slowed down. Like he was always just running off ball, doing whatever. And it was just it was a fairly balanced effort team. Like Chauncey Billups was probably the best dude, but Rasheed, so there's a pretty valiant balanced effort. But Ben Wallace was a representative. So Detroit picking number 1. I don't think they've picked around this high since the Dark Man in a 2003 draft when they had the number 2 pick that they acquired.
That they had actually gained from the Memphis Grizzlies in a trade for Otis Thorpe.
Several years earlier that people had forgotten.
Indeed. Like an old school Celtics or Lakers trade that ended up being gold in the end. Without further ado here. Detroit is choosing Cade Cunningham. And Cade Cunningham is he's somebody who is ridiculously scalable, first off. And somebody who I think, regardless of who won the lottery, was likely going to go number 1.
And it's already been sort of rumored that he's only going to visit one team, which is the Detroit Pistons. So seems like that's probably
Cade's going.
Yeah, they both like the same direction.
We've talked a lot about Cade Cunningham. Had a really great freshman year. The thing that he did better than I think anybody really expected was shoot the basketball. He was very versatile there. Was able to take on a huge responsibility, led the NBA or the NCAA in clutch points by a very wide margin, able to get to the basket. He is a really good passer, did not necessarily have the season passing you might expect, but I feel like in a more wide open game in the NBA, he should really thrive there. You have somebody that you can put the ball in his hands, can make decisions, can get you baskets, can get to the basket, very strong. I would say he's about, I know he was listed at 6'8", but probably 6'7", 220 pounds with a 7'1" or so wingspan. Cade Cunningham going to do huge things to get Detroit to a better place as far as the NBA landscape,
and possibly giving them the most star power they've had since kind of Grant Hill. And it's just
a player that he is often compared to.
A bigger guy that can really bring the ball up the floor for you as well.
Maybe they did rig it.
If he puts on the 33 jersey and he wears some Fila's, then we'll start asking some questions.
We'll see what Grant Hill does as far as USA basketball and giving him an offer. But second pick, we have the Houston Rockets. A lot of people are saying, this spot's kind of up for grabs. The player I have the Rockets selecting is Evan Mobley. And I think that Evan Mobley is just going to be a really he's another guy who while he's a big, I feel is quite scalable and somebody that you could play in just multiple lineups. He's a big man who like isn't going to be played off the floor defensively. Like there are just so many situations where you want him. He's somebody that is like adept at switching on to wings and guards. So yeah, like he's switchable. You don't have to just play drop coverage with Evan Mobley. He makes really quick decisions. He's a great athlete. He has some shooting prowess as well. And I think has quite a bit of upside as far as stretching the floor. Just a great athlete at 7 feet with really rare movement skills.
You think of like he and like Christian Wood as well could be an interesting.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like you wonder where exactly you want to play Evan Mobley on the floor. But yeah, Houston, like they are stuck with John Wall at least for, I would say, like 2 more years, unless they manage to make some deal there.
Or tires or something. Yeah, like
yeah.
And then also,
highly doubtful there.
Eric Gordon's also making a pretty hefty chunk of change for the next few years. So possibly future lottery appearance.
And they have Kevin Porter Jr. Let's not forget that. So yeah, like I could see them possibly looking at Green or Suggs. I know some people have felt like Green could be a pick here. I still think that they will roll with Evan Mobley because to me, Evan Mobley is like a just higher upside guy as far as being that two-way player, being like a more difficult player to find in that you can play him in so many different rotations and have it like possibly give you a giant advantage like when it comes to the postseason. So yeah, that's why I think Evan Mobley is like one of those kind of rare big men who is very worthwhile up at this point of the draft.
And then moving on to Cleveland Cavaliers coming in at number 3.
Yeah. So if Evan Mobley is off the board, like this is where it could get kind of interesting. I would think, I think early on, a lot of people had mocked Cleveland to getting like when the mood was kind of more like, Kuminga, Green, and Suggs are kind of like interchangeable. I don't think they are interchangeable. I think there's like a pretty clear top 4 in the draft right now. And I think that if I were the Cleveland Cavaliers, like as great as Sexland has been, and it's been fun, you're not winning a lot with it. And then you have to worry after this year or possibly even this summer about an extension for Colin Sexton.
Yeah. He's got 1 year, 22. He becomes a free agent.
I would think that you would look to trade Colin Sexton and draft Jalen Green. And Jalen Green is somebody with really rare athletic tools. He shot very well in the G League. He played well in the G League. He was, after a while became the real like go-to scorer for the G League Ignite. Shot like a really I think 37% from NBA 3-point range in the G League. He's able to do some great things like off slashing, cutting, can play off the ball, has even like shown a bit of on-ball equity as well. So yeah, I feel like just with his offensive upside and the fact that you would be able to have him on like this rookie contract, the fact that he is definitely like he's like 6'5" with like a 6'7", 6'8" wingspan. It's like kind of like that more prototypical wing to play next to a Darius Garland. And then providing shooting, which is something that Cleveland kind of, I don't know. You can't say they missed it because like Colin Sexton and Darius Garland both are very good shooters. But yeah, like still something where he has just an immense offensive upside, quite a bit of burst, quite a bit of athleticism. I think just would give a nice boost to the team. And I would be really worried about like when you would finally have to pay Colin Sexton money. And I feel like he's still like, somebody who has value and it, like, has become a really great scorer, has become a really good shooter. And like, I could still see teams being interested. And I feel like Cleveland maybe will kind of look for that and then take the best player available here, which to me is either Jalen Green or Jalen Suggs.
And for Jalen Green, prior, in our past mocks, he was 4, so now he's creeping into that top 3 conversation. But really, we talked about earlier too, like 1 through 5 is pretty much, kind of this certain group, and then after that it gets a little bit crazier.
I feel like there may be a 6 now, but yeah, still very early.
Then number 4, you had the Toronto Raptors moving on up, getting themselves into that lottery, but of course, like the worst pick of the lottery, the 4 lottery, but still.
I think, yeah, they're in a good spot, whoever they get here.
I mean, 4 is still a great pick, but yeah, like obviously.
Well, no, but like I would say also with the way that this draft kind of works out, and yeah, like like 2003, you had the 4 guys that you didn't know the 5th guy was going to be Dwayne Wade. But you had the 4 guys who, you knew were going that top 4. Yeah, I feel like this is likely to be the same kind of thing. And therefore, I have the Toronto Raptors taking Jalen Suggs. It certainly appears that Kyle Lowry is on his way out, and looking for, other teams and other contenders. I think Jalen Suggs next to Fred VanVleet is like that really like heady, solid backcourt. And with Jalen Suggs, you talk about like, he has great defensive instincts and defensive prowess. His shooting was very streaky, but there's still some upside there. Really solid athlete, is somebody that can play on or off ball, and then great passer as well. So yeah, I would say having Jalen Suggs next to Fred VanVleet does wonders in their kind of rebuild-ish kind of
because you still got
going on there.
I feel like they still have Siakam right now as the franchise guy. VanVleet, is kind of like the number 2 there, and
yeah. Well, and then OG. Yeah, I think that Jalen Suggs would just fit in really well with that rebuild. And having like kind of alleviating some of the kind of primary playmaking pressure from Fred VanVleet as well.
I also like that Fred VanVleet did get to be the Raptors lottery representative, because obviously not drafted. So cool for him to be on the other side and be the highest paid undrafted player ever.
Yeah, he helped this year. And
number 5 is gonna be the first of 2 picks for the Orlando Magic.
Yeah.
A lot going on there as far as rebuilding is concerned.
And yeah, I almost wonder like what Orlando will kind of do here, just in terms of like they do have a lot of young talent, and could they like maybe package the picks or package a pick? I guess we'll find out, but I feel like they're likely going to take the guy who's considered that 5th pick by most people. Seem to have like, I would say like, it's like Cade is a tier, then Mobley's a tier, and then you have like these next 3 guys, or maybe even like Green, Suggs, then Kuminga. So I think they're going to take Jonathan Kuminga. He is really strong, really athletic. Did not shoot the ball very well, which is something that Orlando, I think, has been looking for quite a while.
Also got Markelle Fultz out there as well, so on Orlando. So I don't know if that solves.
What were you saying?
As far as like not being able to shoot, super well, because you also have Markelle Fultz, who's obviously struggled with that.
What can you do? Yeah. Well, Jonathan Kuminga, he's one of those kind of like 3-4 hybrids, like about 6'8", really good body. And he didn't necessarily he started off pretty well with the G League Ignite. As the season progressed, you just kind of saw, maybe like some issues with him kind of just going into contact, not necessarily making like the best reads when he was under pressure. So yeah, just a few things to monitor there, but it still looks like like the thing with Kuminga is the upside, the positional size, the fact that he does have some ball skills, the fact that he, did like still get assists and showed some passing acumen. Yeah, I feel like Orlando, I'm not sure they're like super stoked to be in this situation, but he's just another player who they would hope they could groom and just add to the depth that they have in the front court.
Yeah, they definitely have some like young assets. So yeah, and I'm guessing, yeah, they'll probably try to leverage one of their 2 picks and do something. But as it lies today, they will be picking 5. Number 6, we have Oklahoma City Thunder, who is a team. If you're a draft fan, you're going to hear their name in the lottery, regardless of whether they play that way or not, because they have 18 first-round picks in some of our upcoming drafts here. So they are going to be asset heavy. They got a lot to use to move, and they will be picking here at number 6. They're in a pretty full rebuild. They have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but other than that, there's really a lot of space and spots up for grabs.
Just traded for Kemba Walker, who was basically kind of a salary dump, but trade the 16th pick as well to Boston. And they got the 16th pick from Boston.
Yeah, they got the pick from Boston with Al.
Al Horford, Moses Brown.
Going back, Al Horford, Moses Brown going to Boston, Kemba coming in, but that's just, Kemba's that, a sourdough stopgap, just someone who could.
Yeah. I have the Oklahoma City Thunder taking a player who I see as being very Oklahoma City-ish. And that is like somebody that you just hope can learn to shoot because he does so many other things really, really well. And that's Scottie Barnes. And Scottie, shooting's always been one of his biggest issues. And luckily, like, it wasn't like he was completely afraid to shoot. He did have a pretty low 3-point rate. He didn't get to the foul line a ton. But the things that he does really well is he provides a boatload of defensive versatility. He measured in today. So he was listed at Florida State at 6'9", and he measures in at the NBA draft combine at 6'7" without shoes, but has a close to 7'3" wingspan and a 9-foot standing reach that he had measured at the U17 trials, like way back, I think in 2018. So relatively the same size, though I think he's gotten quite a bit stronger. He is an interesting run and jump athlete as opposed to like an elite one, but certainly moves his feet really well. And then the other thing is he's a fantastic passer, has great court vision, makes quick decisions. I feel like he's going to be a better rebounder once he gets to the NBA, and felt like on Florida State, he was kind of playing with, first off, big people and in a different position. But yeah, like, he's one of those like kind of star role player archetypes, can play like, I think even like 3, 4, 5 possibly. But yeah, he's a great like secondary handler, can be at worst like a linking player, who still gives you good rotation minutes. So yeah, I think there's a lot to like about Scottie Barnes, and I think he would be just another player that Oklahoma City would love to have through this rebuilding process, as they likely are, getting a few top players that next year with all the draft capital they have.
Yeah, and yeah, a lot of draft capital coming up, so definitely finding this role players for this young core as well. But yeah, Scottie, you have him moving up. Last time we had a number 9.
Yeah.
Now moving up.
He was always higher in my heart.
No, totally. Super
Scottie Barnes fan.
Super interesting player. And again, they get that versatility kind of helps as well, of being able, that 3-4 that can kind of handle the ball a little bit if needed. And then moving on to number 7, we have the first of 2 lottery picks here for the Golden State Warriors. They get this pick from the Timberwolves.
Yes. So yeah, Timberwolves did give up their pick. They were 6th in lottery odds. If they would have gotten a top 3 pick, they would have kept the pick. I think they were even hoping to get number 3 so they could draft hometown boy Jalen Suggs and have him stay with the team forever, hopefully. But it is likely not going to work out, or isn't working out, because they have to give up the pick. So yeah, I have the Golden State Warriors, and like it seems like they want somebody that's going to come in and help them immediately. The problem I have with that here is I don't know if that's going to happen at number 7. And while there are certainly some players who I think are very worthwhile and could possibly even give you like some good rotation minutes now, it's not a sure thing. I feel like they'll look to trade like one or both of these picks. They have the 7th pick, they have the 14th pick. I have them taking Josh Giddey here, of the Adelaide 36ers. And I think that he is a player that could be coveted in draft. He is somebody who played, first off, he's 6'9" now. And I hear around 220 pounds, which is like significant growth. The other thing is he's a fantastic, I think he's a better passer than he is a ball handler, but can handle the ball. Not a great shooter yet, but certainly has some upside just in terms of like basketball IQ and quick decision making. He, as a player with size, Josh Giddey is somebody that I think could be a possible trade chip, or somebody that I could see Golden State being interested in as like, that linking guy, that person who can kick out to the shooters that they have already, that they can work with. To me, Golden State just like, they still need depth if they're going to compete too. Like they're without some of their really important pieces from their championships.
Yeah, I feel like that Sean Livingston or Andre Iguodala, those are kind of those 2 archetypes. Exactly. They're looking to kind of
and like, while you would like to get a veteran who could be that level right away, I think Giddey is somebody that could help. So yeah, I have him at Golden State for now. I could definitely see them trading this pick, but I feel like Josh Giddey he's somebody that I think has worked his way into a likely top 10.
Wow. Because we had him, in our last mock we did several months ago, number 17. So, definitely
way lower. Way lower.
He was NBL Rookie of the Year. So he's also, coming in with a little professional experience. He's also played for Australia national team. So definitely will be interesting to see where they're going. Then number 8, we are right back where we were at our favorite place, Orlando. Orlando's second pick. They get this pick from Chicago.
Mm-hmm. And I have them taking Moses Moody. I think Moody has that shooting upside that you're looking for. I had a lot of people skeptical today about, so there's this Nike Skills Academy measurement that came out with Moses Moody having a +1 wingspan, which was just incorrect. And I had an old measurement of him having the 7-foot wingspan. He measures in today at 7 feet and 3/4. So almost 7'1", 8'9" standing reach, really solid freshman season, could get buckets, could get to the free throw line. The shooting was a bit hot and cold, but I think at least showed a lot of progress as far as that is concerned and upside there. And then, a good defender too. So yeah, like a player of that size who has a little on-ball ability, not like the greatest decision maker, not the quickest decision maker, but like has some upside there too. I just think he's another like solid wing and potentially like really big guard that Orlando can play at times. So yeah, like, you know, you get like a 2-3 with Moses Moody, you get a 3-4 with Jonathan Kuminga. And I think as Atlanta shows, like, you know, it doesn't hurt to have these wings upon wings. And when you have players like Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter out, it doesn't hurt to have Kevin Herter and you know, it's blanking right now, but
they have some pretty good wing depth in Atlanta.
Yeah, Bogdanovich. I guess like he's more of a 4, but Danilo Gallinari. Yeah.
And then number 9, we come to a team that, you know, we thought was gonna get over the hump and make the playoffs possibly. At a point, it looked like they were close, but obviously back they are in the lottery, Sacramento Kings.
Did it look like they were going to make the playoffs?
I mean, going into the I mean, I think the way they ended in the bubble, I mean, I had some positive hope that they were finally gonna.
I mean, like Phoenix.
Not. I mean, like as like, you know, like as like a playing like 8 seat, like, you know, kind of thing. Not like.
Yeah, the West was deep. The West was
totally. Well, you see that with basically the last part of the lottery, because other than Indiana, all these next picks are going to be Western Conference.
Yeah, I thought Sacramento first off, they had a really great draft pick last year in Tyrese Halliburton. Finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting, all rookie first team. Very deserved. People questioned his shooting ability. That wasn't a thing that should have been questioned because he'd been hitting shots. And yes, like is he, you know, a dangerous pull-up shooter? Still, jury's still out. He doesn't take tons, but you know, can hit the floater, can hit threes at a really high level, which he'd been doing. And then is a great passer as well. I have them taking Franz Wagner out of Michigan. I just think that, you know, he's another guy, a wing, good passer, good defender, and also like really young. Like he would have been super young for last year's draft, and is still like pretty young considering this year also. So yeah, he is a really young sophomore, had 2 good years at the University of Michigan, and is somebody that I think like should be able to fill minutes at either forward spot, you know, can play in multiple different lineups, and could be, I think ideally like this big wing, good passer, and then you hope that, you know, the shot falls, which it was streaky, but he was at least showing
The mechanics,
a little more
are pretty good.
well.
Yeah, for him again, creating his own shot, like strength would probably be, you know, get a little bigger for the NBA game. Those would probably be his.
I mean, I don't think you're like really expecting him to do much like self-creation, but yeah.
And then number 10, we have a team that possible coaching news for them today as well. Number 10, it's the New Orleans Pelicans. Master P himself, he's got the hookup. He says if he became the coach of the Pelicans, Zion would be happy. Because he'd probably be traded somewhere else or just not play basketball.
I think if Master P became the coach of the Pelicans, Zion should be miserable. Like, what are his credentials to be an NBA coach?
And granted, he was someone that did get to go to training camp with a couple NBA teams, and I'm sure he's a great basketball player in certain ways. But you know, there's
probably coached his sons.
But there's also there's also between that and the
let's be real here, people.
The intricacies of coaching in the NBA and also dealing with the egos that come with the NBA, and also I got to tell you, Zion and
the egos that come with Master P.
Well, that and also those players, like the players in the NBA today, are all too young to even remember Master P being cool ever, which was questionable even at the time. But
I don't know, Wody.
So number 10, New Orleans Pelicans. Zion, you know, rumored not to be happy, which is not good. But obviously, this looks like a situation where probably free agency comes, and he will probably.
Well, good luck with that, because, you know, he's stuck there for another like 6 or 7 years. So like, yeah, man, he if free agency comes, he's restricted. So what the fuck can I do? Unless he decides to take the qualifying offer, which I don't think he would do, because the one thing you talk about with Zion Williamson is the risk of injury. And beyond him being a fantastic basketball player, I have the Pelicans making an interesting pick. This guy's kind of polarizing. like draft Twitter loves him, and the kind of mainstream draft sites and I guess the NBA scouts that they talk to are all over the place with him. But I went with Jaden Springer, and I just think, there's some creation upside there. He's really young. He did measure a lot smaller today. Like he measured at U16 tryouts when he was like 14 or 15, at around the same size he measured at today. So I know there was always like some hope that he would have this late growth spurt and everything. I don't think it's happening. I think he just was the size that he is. Nonetheless, really strong basketball player. Can get his own shot. Like he didn't take a ton of threes, which kind of worries you, but like showed some really good kind of projectable shooting. And then just he has that ability to get into the lane off of two and get some good shots there, get to the foul line. So yeah, I feel like maybe the Pelicans would go with somebody that, has that shooting upside, because you need to surround Zion with shooters. Like that's the big thing here with this pick. I think, like they could try and find the perfect center to play next to Zion Williamson, but I don't think that's happening. They could find an athletic guard where you need to kind of work on their shooting, which is, I feel, a pretty workable skill. But I think, why not go with like the more sure thing and the player with the creation upside that Jaden Springer brings to the table?
And we will see what goes on in New Orleans, because obviously Zion,
Okay.
I'd be happy.
I am not the GM of the New Orleans Pelicans, however. I'm not running the show. I probably need to get more into their brains, but yeah, this is my pick for now.
And then moving on to the Charlotte Hornets, number 11. Rookie of the year,
Yes.
LaMelo Ball, so obviously drafted well last year.
Yes. And I have them taking James Bouknight. I just think, he's another like really athletic, possible scoring option next to LaMelo. I know that they're likely to look for a big guy here, and they've been kind of searching for that center. Though I really like the kind of small ball center by committee that they've done. And I know that they have Terry Rozier for another year. I'm guessing they don't sign Malik Monk to an extension. So they may be looking for a little more scoring, a little more firepower. I know that they have Devontae Graham also as a free agent. But yeah, like with the slashing athleticism that James Bouknight brings to the table, the scoring potential, I think that he could be a pretty decent defender as well. So yeah, I have Bouknight. It seems like Bouknight is likely to end up somewhere in the lottery. And I have him going to the Charlotte Hornets with the 11th pick.
Yeah, I think it'd be an interesting pairing like with LaMelo as well, of just like some guys that have that ability to really get to the basket, make something happen. But moving on,
kind of like make up for some of the parts where LaMelo is a little bit weaker.
And yeah, they're still kind of figuring out some identity, but I think they're heading in the right direction. And in a few years, once they get Gordon Hayward off the books, free up some cap space maybe. But number 12,
they were the one who wanted him on the books.
I know, but like
he played very well, man. Like they were almost in playoff contention.
He's 31 years old, so it's like that kind of.
It was an interesting long-term deal, but yeah, I think we'll see. It could get them there.
The paradigm there. But number 12, we got the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, I really like the Spurs are a team with so many like guards and wings right now. I felt like they may look for one of like the international big men. And I know like Jakob Poeltl actually played really well for them. I have them taking Alperen Sengun. Played for Besiktas in Turkey. had a fantastic season, and I think he was the TBL MVP. He is just kind of like breaking statistical, or like hitting those statistical thresholds where you're like, it's very unlikely this guy is like a bad NBA player. There are some things to worry about in terms of like exactly who he covers. He's not a huge center, but he really knows the game. Really good rebounder, really strong, and like shows some passing acumen, shows some ability to play in draft coverage. You wonder if that will translate to the playoffs eventually, but I think also a chance when you are at the 12th pick, like the odds of you getting a rotation guy, you're usually pretty happy with that. And while there may be like higher upside kind of like plays here, I feel like Sengun is at least probably like somewhere in this range and could really be a good player. Like I feel like he might be getting like slightly slept on just because of the archetype. And when things kind of like play out in this draft, he might be like quite a bit better than some people have ranked him.
And if any team, does those kind of things with the draft, it's usually the San Antonio Spurs are pretty good at
great international scouting department. So yeah.
And then at number 13, we have the Indiana Pacers.
Yes. This guy was being constantly compared to a player that also was named D. Mitchell with the same number as him. They are very different players. I think they're like close to the same age too, which is great.
Which is the crazy thing how the NBA works out with one and done versus guys that stay in college for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and Donovan played a couple years in college, but yeah, Donovan Mitchell currently 24, set to be 25. And then we have Davion Mitchell, and he is going to be 23 before his first NBA game. He had a really great year and like made significant improvements. Really good defender, like one of those great on-ball guys, really pesky, like shooters didn't play well against him. And then offensively, like really worked on things. Doesn't get to the free throw line a great amount. Didn't shoot very well from the free throw line. But then when you look at like, as far as like jumpers off the dribble, the 3-point shooting, you kind of don't know what to believe anymore. Indicators usually show that your first few years and everything like that will matter. And like, you can't just go off somebody's last year of shooting in college. Was a career, I believe, like 32% 3-point shooter in the NCAA.
But I think picked it up between his freshman year at Auburn versus 2 years later when he started at Baylor.
Well, yeah, and like picked it up some, but yeah, like
no, totally.
I don't think there was a really great like sample size in Auburn either. But yeah, it's just you don't really know what to believe. He measured in really like small today, and like I know there were people waiting for the measurements and everything, but Baylor like had their measurements up on their site. Like they listed his wingspan at 6'3". I think it actually came out to being like 6'4". Still, like he's not a big guy.
He was Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year last year as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like, and was maybe the best player on the team that won the championship. Like all things considered, and like I think he was a second team All-American as well. And yeah, like he is somebody that I think you're banking on as being that grinder. A player that can maybe like play to next to like a jumbo initiator. I'm not completely sure about him being your primary initiator, though he showed strides there as well. But I think he's somebody that you know what you're getting, and you're going to be happy with like the intensity that he plays with, that athleticism and that on-ball defense. And then the shooting is the big thing. Like if the shooting is real, then this is a really good rotation guy for you.
And the Pacers, are a team that was close to the playoffs, so they have some, some core there as well. So, a good chance to be a rotation guy would be pretty huge. And then last pick of the lottery, we are coming back to Golden State. They are closing it out in the lottery. They're that 14th pick.
Indeed. I'm going a little crazy on this one. I think Golden State is so intent on drafting an NBA ready player with at least one, if not both of their picks, possibly trading for one. Chris Duarte did not accept his combine invitation. There were a few others that didn't also. I have Golden State taking Chris Duarte in this post-lottery mock draft.
Well, Jerry Westward winner, Oregon Duck, love him. Was not saying that, because again, based on of course, the NBA draft is so ageist. So that was a thing against him, but he does possess, a pretty good versatile skill set, and he does have good shooting ability. Yeah, that would be amazing if that is a promise that he has gotten. That would be super, super cool.
Yeah, I feel like it's somewhere in the late lottery does seem
it has to be good to not want to go down.
What did you say?
It has to be good for you to not want to go to the it has to be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, or I would say anywhere in the mid to late first round is probably good for somebody who, I don't know if you'd heard this before, but is going to turn 24 before his first NBA game. It's not like they didn't mention it in every single game.
Well, that's why I thought, the draft that would hurt him,
It could.
Skill set wise, he has the ability.
Point 14 or let's take Cam Johnson, who turned out to be a really solid role player and a good pick for the Phoenix Suns thus far. Bring what everybody had hoped to the table in terms of his shooting and even his defensive acumen too, and being strong and experienced. So Chris Duarte, he brings defense. He has really good defensive instincts. He improved a significant amount as a shooter, still had better free throw indicators, and I think just took more 3-pointers than Davion Mitchell had. But he didn't necessarily shoot really well as a junior, shot a lot better this year. I think his confidence was something that really stood out, and I think stood out throughout his basketball playing career. That's been one big thing with him. He didn't measure at the combine, but I'm guessing somewhere in the neighborhood of 6'6" with the 6'10" or so wingspan.
He presents some defensive, versatility.
Yeah,
as well.
Good athlete
with a pretty good, good handle. Obviously, he's not a point guard, but he's not the last part.
And makes good decisions also. He's somebody who I just see fitting that archetype of a plug and play wing, who you can get some good minutes out of.
Get some energy and minutes off the bench.
Yeah, he's somebody who I know. The tagline with him is, if you're an NBA team that's ready to compete, he's somebody that could possibly give you some good minutes right away. Yes, he will be 28 by the end of his first contract. That is going to be older, but he is somebody that played so well this year, and he brings just beyond 3 and D. I could see a team just really liking him and having given him a promise somewhere in this range. And with the way that Golden State is talking, I would not be surprised at all if this one of their picks went to like a kind of older, I shouldn't say older, but like a more experienced
A player that can
college player or international player.
Yeah, you think once Clay steps back in on the court, they want to be back where they were.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good luck with that. But
no, totally. But I'm just like I mean, obviously there's a lot of work there, but like that's the mindset of
they're
what
still going to be really good. Yeah. I think they are still going to be really good. Yeah. You have Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. You find the right contributing pieces, that you could have a great team once again. So yeah, that is our initial lottery. Some players that I was trying to find a way to get Keon Johnson in there.
Yeah, I was thinking the guys that we had prior in our lotteries. We had Keon Johnson, number 6 last time. We also had Corey Kispert, Kai Jones, Zaire Williams, Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
So definitely,
all those guys. I think
still some interesting names and talent on the board.
Yeah, quite a bit.
But if there's anybody that you think should have been in the lottery that Michael overlooked, use the power of the internet to let us know, because that's what the comments are for. Definitely love to hear like what you're excited about. Did your team get a good pick? Like you think they're in a good position to do something that you'd like? Let us know any draft theories, because obviously there's a lot of time between now and the draft, but we will talk about it as much as we can prior to that date. But it's exciting now to finally put teams into picks and really be able to kind of evaluate it and go from there as well. So we're excited about that. I know you're excited about the remainder of the draft combine.
Yeah, excited about the draft combine. The other thing I'm excited about, the G League Elite Combine just happened as well. So yeah, we'll have links to both of their measurements, and I know the G League Elite gave out the stats as well. Delano Benton led the G League Elite camp in rebounds and assists, and he is Canadian, measured with a 9.5 standing reach. So 9.0.5. But yeah, he is basically a guard, like or like wing player, and played for Nebraska, transferred from Western Kentucky. Really interesting player. So yeah, that was kind of cool. And we'll have a lot more combine info for you in the near future. The other thing we are definitely going to be focusing on is Always Us. That is the Oregon TBT team. Very excited about their team. They just added Marty Lunin to the picture. They had Bryce Taylor brought in as well. Joseph Young kind of leading the way. We got Mikhail McIntosh, Paul White, Dwayne Benjamin. The gang's back together.
Yeah, it's really a lot of I like that they brought in Marty Lunin, because they also brought in Bryce Taylor, Tawan Porter. So there's 3 guys from the Ernie Kent era, and then there's a lot of guys from this Dana Altman era. So just exciting matchup of players. And I think like Joseph Young, someone who is going to come out and not be afraid to shoot the ball. So definitely a lot of potential at a lot of different positions. So we're super excited about Team Always Us. And
for sure. Yeah, but please leave us a comment. Let us know what's up, what you guys think is going to happen. Why Josh Giddey wasn't a good pick for the Golden State Warriors. Let me know. I think they're going to trade the pick, guys.
Most likely, yeah. I think when you get the double picks, if you're not plugging in that many holes, they're probably going to shift and move it. But a lot of time between now and the draft. But definitely let us know any of your thoughts, anything you're excited about. You could always obviously drop us a comment. You could also send us an email, viselandpod@gmail.com. If you love what we're doing, you love the both of us, you want to follow at one time, that's at Viseland on Twitter. You want to follow me specifically, I'm at Jay Weisenberg. You want to follow Mikey, that's at NBA Draft Mikey V. Definitely thank you guys so much for stopping by, listening, watching, checking us out. If you're watching, we are on YouTube. If you are just listening, we are on all podcast platforms. Definitely like, subscribe, review, share. We appreciate so much all the love that we've gotten. And as Mikey said earlier in the show, if we do get this amount of likes that he is looking for, that he is questing and lusting for, measurement episode.
Yes.
So definitely in-depth analysis drop down there. So definitely give us that love.
A lot more in the future, my friends.
A lot more. But we'll see you all next time. Thanks so much for stopping by.